Hello, okay, we're back. We have roughed the ends. The main body tube ends for the main part, the triangle, must be roughed at approximately 10 centimeters. So you'll do your roughing. Once the roughing's done, just past the roughing a little bit, you'll take some of your tape that you were given earlier, that we used here. And I did mention this, but you will need 8 layers of tape for the 2 points that your dropouts connect. Here, this lower bracket, there's 8 pieces of tape here, and then it's slid on. The top one, 8 pieces of tape, and then it's slid on. It'll be a little bit tough to press it in, but that's good. So these, after they're roughed 10 centimeters out, from the furthest point, 10 centimeters, roughed, you'll tape it. You'll tape the other end 10 centimeters, and then you take your cellophane, and you'll just take it along here, and maybe it doesn't do the full distance, that's okay. You do as far as it goes, you do 2 wraps. If it doesn't cover the whole distance, you slide it over, do 2 wraps, and you're good with the cellophane, and then you tape the ends again around your cellophane. And you'll do that with all 3 main pieces. Now, the dropout pieces, a little different because they're shorter and you still want to see some of your bamboo. So, let's do the lower one, the one closest to the bottom bracket, attached to the bottom bracket. The one attached to the bottom bracket, this end should be, I'll use this just to make sure, should be roughed to about 5 centimeters or a centimeter just past the length of your slot. The slot for sliding it onto the dropout. Okay? Just a centimeter past that. And after that is roughed that far, you want to go again and take another centimeter and a half, and that's where you do your tape on this end. Now the end closest to your bottom bracket, that'll be a little different. You will have it roughed out to approximately, again, about 5 centimeters. Because this one doesn't have a slot to try and get past, it's just 5 centimeters. And from there, this will actually be wrapped a little further out. From there, you'll do your tape at close to 8.5 centimeters. That's where you'll do your tape. And so once those 2 ends are taped, you'll run that tape down a little bit. You'll do your cellophane. So maybe you'll do 3 wraps, progressively moving down a bit, maybe a 4th wrap, depending how long you want to see your visible bamboo. But more bamboo always looks nicer. So 3 wraps is good. After that, you do your 2 cellophane wraps, and then you wrap the ends again in tape. So the bottom bracket ones, those are your measurements. And take down those notes. We will be typing up an English guide because I'm going through this process. I'll type it out so you'll have those measurements. I have notes that I've been taking, so if you don't have the measurements from the video or haven't taken them down from this video, that's okay, they'll be in the notes. Next, the upper 2. These ones, again, a little different. You want to rough it out about 5 on the side close to the bottom bracket. Do your tape. Now from there, this is kind of different because you want to be able to put your rear brake on. This kit is not designed for disc brakes. There may be a kit later on down the line. Right now, we're not there for a do-it-yourself kit. So you'll take it, and your first 5 centimeters, you'll just have kind of hanging off the edge of it. And you'll take that and you're like, okay, 5 centimeters. And then you'll scroll down and you'll find 39, and you'll mark 39 on your pole, both of them. And from that 39, you'll go 1.5 centimeters back toward the dropout, and that's where you wrap your tape. You wrap your tape 1.5 centimeters back from 39 with 5 hanging off the edge, right? Take your cellophane, 2 wraps, and then wrap the ends in tape again, and you do that with both of these. So these are good to go. And everything should be taped and wrapped and ready to assemble. Doesn't hurt to have one of these if you don't own one. Not in the kit, because you don't need it to build it if you know how to measure. And most people have some sort of measuring device. Next, got to put this all onto your jig. So you'll take the one with the seat tube installed. This is the one piece that has the metal part in it, and it's with the seat tube. Seat tube's a difficult thing to seat, and if your bamboo's not exactly the proper size, it's difficult to do. So he's gone and done one step for you, which is a nice little service, I think. And so your seat tube's right there. And so you'll see this little slot in it, and that's where it'll tighten. You want the slot facing toward the back where your dropouts are. So you'll take that slot, and right here in the first one that you made that had the little circle, you'll see the circle that you put together. You'll set that down in there, and you'll take it toward the bottom bracket here, and you want it centered. But you'll notice that your kit is not tight right now, and that's fine. You'll tighten it up later, and it'll be okay, and I'll show you that as we go. So you'll slide that in there, and it's kind of hangs there, and it sits there, and it's okay. And then you'll take another one, and this one is the bottom one, and you'll know it's the bottom one because it doesn't have a seat tube in it. It's got a slot here for the end that'll go on the head tube up here, and the bottom has like a flat chunk and then a bite out of it. And that bite you want to match up with the seat tube piece, and they'll match up and they'll look nice, and they'll both sit in the center once everything's tightened up. And so you can set that there. Oh no, this end's not fitting. Well, you just kind of swing it forward, slide it down, and it slides over there, and that one's ready. After that, grab the head tube. And at the moment I may have this backwards, we'll see in a second. And you'll know if it's backwards, because if it's backwards, it's just not gonna slide in right. But it should have a proper angle. I believe you want it sloping this way, and the back one sloping that way. But we'll see in a second if I'm correct. If I'm not, I'll tell you the other way you want it to go. And I am correct. So you want both angles to be like this, both ends. And it'll fit in there. Now you can take the band from earlier, this green band, and you'll attach it. Probably right here's a good spot. You know, you'll take it, attach it here to the head tube, and you'll take that little piece, and then you'll come around and you'll pull on it because you want this tight. You want this nice and tight. So you'll pull over here, and if you have a friend, get your friend to help, because it'll just make it that much easier. And you'll come around, you'll wrap it, and you want to go past where this one is, and swing back around and get this over here. Now if you can, you might be able to go all the way down here. I'm not going to do that. I think it might be a little too much pressure right now, but I'm not sure. It did feel like I could almost go that far if I pulled a little harder, but for now this is good. So it's tight. You can push this down, push this one over here up a little bit, bring this one down, which tightens that up, push this one down, bring this one up, and your bottom bracket should be here. And you center these. You want them nice and centered. Center it as close as you can get to center. And in doing that, that gives you room for when you come over here and take these shorter two bottom bracket ones and hook those up. And you wonder, oh, what's the best way to do this? Well, I have a frame over here to look at, so I will tell you. You want you'll see a thicker end and a thinner end. You want the thicker end facing out of the frame, outward, the outside, and the thinner end on the inside. So you'll take this and you'll slide it over your bottom bracket here, and you'll slide it up here, and it should fit on this side with just a little metal showing on the outer edge, just a little, so you know it's good and centered. but this might actually be the other sides because it seems to want to sit differently. So let me check down here if that sits better. Okay. Seems nice there. Take the other one. Again, same thing. Make sure the thinner side's on the inner part of the frame. And this will also help with your tires are less likely to touch your bamboo frame. You don't want that. You push this one over here. No, I was wrong. They go the other way. It'll just kind of be obvious when you get going on how things line up. It'll feel better based on the cut and things like that. And if you're really good at this point, you can actually use the epoxy here that comes with the kit. Dab it in there and push it in. But offhand, I don't really want to recommend it. This is my first time building this kit, and more than likely your first time. So if you goof up, you might not be happy with the results. You don't want that. Oh crap, I glued it. He told me to glue it. No, shit. Don't do that. Nobody wants you pissed off at me. Nobody wants you mad because you did something too soon. Okay, and so things are kind of loose. That's okay. Things will tighten up later. Okay, these two ends will be shaved. Kind of like a little curving here going on, right? You want the end with the shorter piece, the shorter part of that curve will be the topward facing piece. And you want the thinner end in toward the bike on the dropout and the thicker end outward. So this one, the thick end facing outward with the shorter piece here, is the top outside leg, the leg right here on the top. So that one's pretty simple to spot. And we'll just slide it over there, bring it over here, and I was showed earlier that it's good to slide this just under the top bar of the main triangle. And so that'll be just under that, and that'll get wrapped together. And so, can we get some zoom here to show this? Right here. Oh, this one loose right there. Right here, see? Here's the top bracket, and here's the bottom. The bar that goes to the dropout. And this will be right below this one. This one's right here, this will be right below that. We got enough zoom coming in here? No? Okay. So this will be right here. You see here? Here's this one. It's up here. You don't want this up here. You want it right just under that. So here's the big one. And if you come to the peak, your finger would actually make it just above this dropout. So the dropout comes in right below that. And that'll help for a nicer joint when you're ready to join it. Okay, you can zoom out. And then on the bottom, you'll slide this bottom one in, just like you did the top one, but it's on the other side. And it'll be the same idea. You'll want it lower than this top bar, the top bar. Okay. And so now we got all the pieces on. Our next step, some kits use resin for the initial binding and fiberglass. So you'd have all these parts here, and well, before that, obviously you would take this and you would bind this bamboo to the metal here with these two on the bottom dropouts, and here in the back, and here up front on the metal here you would bind it, and you'd bind these 3 pieces, or 4 pieces right here in the middle, or the 2 big ones in the middle, and the 2 that connect to the dropouts here in the on the outsides of the seat tube. And they bind it with their own epoxy. This is like JB Weld you could use in the States, or you can just get the ones that have the double plunger and you press, and that'll work and bind it to the metal. And they usually let that set for an hour before they start doing the wet phase with their hemp and the resin, 2-part epoxy resin. But after that is set, they would use fiberglass and epoxy resin to do just a nice initial joint before the hemp and epoxy resin to finish out your lugs. But with this kit, we have metal. Little metal wires that'll work, and they are your extra support. So you'll take this wire and you'll put it over here, and in your kit they will start to include these little zip ties. And the zip tie will be right here, and it'll make sure it's nice and tight.